M&M's.
What color do you think you are?
I am most definitely that beautiful soft chocolate brown.
That's actually a very good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that make you? You're the blue one because you make people crazy.
All right. Is
Yeah.
that what blue does?
I mean, my mum didn't let me have them because apparently they made me hyper. It's not real, is it? It's not a real thing.
That's craziness.
What am I doing here? This isn't happening
It's
in a while.
new to you, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's been a while.
I
When was the last time?
I think like a Pro League game after a 20-hour travel day with Henry.
Oh, yes, that infamous...
The Vegas. Yeah, we don't talk about the Vegas travel experience. But
well,
the crowd is hyped,
Yeah, I was going to
man.
say, the crowd's excited for this. Are you excited for this?
100% I am. Yeah, I mean, it's train, so we're basically going to have... I mean, the first words out your mouth were perfect map for a game like this. Two Swedish titans clashing, and only one gets the last spot.
I know, and train is like Inferno to me, where it just feels like that map that, like, you know, big games are just played on.
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
It's really cool to see. And also, I mean, just this matchup, NIP versus Fnatic, two Swedish teams that at some time have been the best in the world. It feels like this is one of those rivalries where you can just kind of throw previous form out the window, and everyone is just going to show up.
I mean, yes.
Well, here's the thing. I said the same thing. I would have said the same thing about Nip Virtus Pro as well, and that we saw that turned out.
And that's the point as well. I mean, Fnatic on paper have been doing fantastic on train. In fact, their train game scared VP into banning it. Let's not forget, a 16-2 result online had Virtus Pro cowering here in the offline environment.
Part of that is because I know Thorn's been mentioning it these past couple of days, is the individual skill of these Fnatic players is getting back to level, right? So Olaf is scary in open spaces. You have JW making his craziness, his plays, his impact. So that's doing very well. And then you have Crims as well towards the inner bound. Like, I mean, all this stuff is turning into Fnatic is becoming that force again.
And you just said JW's name, and then I realized it's Train. The question is there a Mag 7 in Pop Dog at any point? Is there a sniper in Pop Dog at any point? He used to be ridiculous with that.
Yeah, you have to imagine there will be. I mean, both. Well, Fnatic, we saw yesterday. They don't like saving. They like buying things.
Yes, that's
they like
correct.
buying a lot.
Yes, I mean, a man after my own heart, or a team after my own heart. They like to buy, as I did this jacket.
It's a nice jacket.
It's very warm, though. You know, it's almost designed for, like, outside rooms. And
you're wearing it inside
outside rooms,
lights.
that's an oxymoron in itself. I'm excited, man. I don't even remember how to do this whole casting thing. So I just basically say what's happening. Is that what I have to do?
Yeah, count the number of kills that are happening.
Okay, well, just say a number, like 1.
Yeah,
two,
it's usually 1 to 5, somewhere
1 to 5, typically.
Yeah.
Thank you, you're so helpful. Oh, there he is as well, Threat. This has been a fun discussion on the desk as of late. You know, given their rise and fall, and Threat's obviously reappearance and disappearance with his studies and intermittent presence at events.
Yeah, and like it's always been interesting because every time he's at an event, like everyone gets so excited to see him there in terms of like the potential of NIP, just because of like living off that like Malmo hype train where he came in for his first event behind them. So that's huge. But I mean, it is always kind of curious what kind of impact he can actually have if he's not, like how much is he actually doing between events? I think that's always the question.
Well, the question here is, who is going to pick up the pistol? We kick things off. We have Fnatic on the CT side, NIP on the T. And things start right here. Of course, especially on train, that T-pistol is such a powerful momentum tool. It's going to be very important to see if they can grab this one. And they've started well. JW down to 14.
Yeah, he's already goosed, so that's going to limit his aggressiveness, which is nice. I mean, that's on JW. I mean, pistol rounds are going to be a little bit tamer in the plays he makes. But at the moment, this is very passive from Fnatic. Everyone far back, and that's not necessarily something new, except for this, except for Dennis getting aggressive.
Hello. Dennis looking for just a bit of information. He's going to get a whole lot more than he bargained for. His head is gone. JW's low as well towards Ivy, and that could increase pressure. But look at this. There is just silence. 1 kill, blood drawn, and NIP don't move a muscle.
This is so patient from NIP.
Like
now past a minute in 5-on-4 situation. They haven't given up anything. As well, JW is essentially the only defense ever towards Ivy, and he's only got 14 HP. Thankfully, it doesn't quite look like NIP is going to pressure it just yet, but now it's going to be a split to the outer bomb site. Bomb is out in the yard.
As is Get Right. He is just charging forwards, but Olaf's going to behead him. Oh, and Crims as well. 1 bullet is all he needs. But JW sits in the corner. 14 points of health was all he needed. And Olaf is the one to clean up the rest. Oh, that was cheeky. Just sitting there, lying in wait, biding his time. And that could be the round. It is indeed. Olaf, some vintage Olaf as we've been seeing throughout here in Kiev. That's 3 for him.
Yeah, and Crims as well. And you can see that passive setup using the range of those USPs to great effect. Get Right's the first one out with the bomb. Once that's spotted and dropped, it's an easy rotation. It feels like JW is one of the players who in that spot, just for some reason, no one's going to check it when he's there.
And of course, I'm sitting in that corner, and I immediately just start screaming and panicking and spraying. He's just chilling. And gets himself one and gets the other back turn for Olaf to finish off. Lovely work from JW. And that's Fnatic getting that first pistol. And we're going to be seeing, actually, I mean, I know Chad would be happy with this, rifles and SMGs. They're not falling into that triple UMP, or rather, excuse me, penta UMP that I know he hates oh so much. We are on train of all maps.
Yeah, and I mean, there's only one smoke, so the game plan for NIP here is let these deagles, give them some time to find a pick, see if they can get just one kill, and then you can try and use that smoke to something. But without a lot of utility, without the flashbangs or the Molotovs or anything, I mean, really, there's not a whole lot you can do except rely on some of these deagles to have effect.
It's all right. I mean, my analysis can be that that's a deagle blaze skin, and all the best plays are made with that particular skin. So that's Olofmeister laughing at my theory. Forest gone.
Well, it wasn't the deagle blaze.
Oh, excuse me. There we go. My analysis stands. Yeah. Freiburg's going to do something nutty. Exist, hanging out with that Tech 9. He's not conforming to that deagle buy.
Yeah, this is tough now. Nade damage onto Freiburg, and I think the only option they have left in NIP, you can see they're reconvening towards the inner bomb site. All that's left is just smoke lower ramp and hope you can get this plan off. Try and recoup some of this money that you spent. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to get too many kills. Fnatic loves playing retake on this map, which kind of mitigates some of the danger. A
mission bomb plant is going to be made a whole lot more difficult by Fnatic's utility. Here it comes. It's a Molotov from Dennis. Looks like it didn't quite hit the mark. It gives them a bit of room to maneuver, but there's a second one to follow up, and a flurry of frags is going to end that round. Flusha finishing the last with Flame, and that will be Fnatic's second. Very little lost. No bomb down. Couldn't ask for more for Fnatic.
You could see the idea of Dennis, even though he missed the Molotov, a follow-up one does the job, but drop the Molotov in the choke point and then get aggressive on it, so they have to stop and fight it. So really nicely done. Only losing one player as well, so no real success with that investment for NIP.
Still, nice to see Draken is going to be playing for that orb. No Kevlar was on him. And what did you make of this Draken? You know, I mean, it seemed like the desk has kind of finally been convinced, stating that the result in performance versus G2 can be forgiven, given by how dominant the French have been. I mean, you know what, Draken, he has done well, top of the scoreboard in their last match as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's a young player, and he's dynamic, and we've seen some very, very good plays out of him. And just like most young players, especially Oppers, you see great plays, and you see poor plays from them, poor decision-making. The Oppa is such a finicky weapon in the sense that if you get out of position just once, that can cost your team so very much. It's a weapon that's relied upon to provide so much map control. So it's very, very important. That's something. Those are the learning lessons that NIP is just going to have to deal with as he improves and gets experience.
I'm thoroughly looking forward to seeing what he can do, especially on Train as well. See if he can do any damage to Fnatic. And damage is indeed being done. Flusha, one more bullet is all he needs. It's going to be Crims who takes that away from him. But 3 for Flusha, holding stalwart on the site with a UMP in hand. We are seeing a tech pause called, so that will just be resolved any moment now before the first real buy. But Fnatic converting the pistol into another 2.
Yeah, and this is actually a super important round for NIP because Flusha with the UMP gets 3 kills that round. Money bonus is going to help build up some bank as well. They've only killed 1 player in these past 2 rounds, so they invested a lot. In the second round, only get 1 kill, no bomb plants as well. So they're going to be a little bit lighter on what they'd want to purchase. And on top of that, if they don't do damage, if they just get cleaned out, the economy of Fnatic to start this CT half is going to be just so strong. I don't know, like it would just be so difficult to have to grind that back down.
It is going to be such an important round, and they do come up time and time again. This one round will determine probably the next 2 or 3, and that's the fate NIP are well and truly aware of. We do get a little replay of this hold. And this is the money you're talking about. 600 a pop, just lovely Glocks, juicy for the UMP.
Well, and then you get to keep it, and it's an effective weapon, and that's probably the part of the UMP that is most complained about is the fact that not only does it have a massive bonus in terms of the kill reward, but it's cheap and you can use it in gun rounds. And we see it frequently winning duels against rifles.
How often do you see someone come in with a UMP and actually drop it and pick himself up on M4? It just doesn't seem to happen. However, it does look like Flusha will be keeping hold of his. We were talking about this. The rest of his team upgrading and making themselves comfortable. Responsibility to hold this B site has been given to Flusha and Flusha alone. And that's going to be first blood drawn. Draken straight out of the round. He worked so hard for that AWP, but it's taken away from him in the first 10 seconds.
Yeah, a very aggressive peek out of an Opera on the 4th round, and you're exactly right. Losing it in the first 10 seconds, not only are a man down, but that's a big piece of the puzzle to find you a pick. Forrest is going to pick it up, but we also know that one of the reasons why Draken was picked up is because in some ways Forrest wasn't cutting it as an Opera, so serviceable for sure for just 1 round if need be.
In some ways, yes, but also just we want to see Forrest on that rifle.
Yeah, that AK at open space is a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. The control, the poise. I think Duncan said it best when he said it's like he's playing in slow motion. Now, Fnatic get to lose a single point of health, and that's going to be Crims. Whoa, just as the smoke dissipates, catches Get Right with the FAMAS, and that's going to be perfect. Now down to 3, and this is so tough for NIP now. Having to operate with a severe numbers disadvantage, and Fnatic, like, there's no weakness here. They have utility, they have numbers, and they've even got an AWP staring straight at you as JW is going to be on his way.
Yeah, this is going to be so tough. I mean, you can already see Fnatic has an idea this is coming in, but Molotov in hand, Flusha, that's a little bit bold, a little bit over-aggressive, and he's dropped. So the bomb plant is going to go down, and it's a post plant, a 3-on-4 for NIP.
Not impossible. The time will be on their side as it continues to tick down. You can see courtesy of Starladder especially. Olaf is going to be that first point of contact. Going to try and get as much information as he can, try and find that bomb planter, but Crims has done some work for him. Catches exist. That's important. And now Forest, he picked up that ult, but he's probably regretting it now because he's going to have to try and defend this bomb with the zoom banger. He can't find him in the smoke. One more chance. He's not going to get it. Whistles past the shoulder of Olaf under the guise of the smoke. And that, my friends, is a fourth.
Yeah, too much to ask for, but also just a brilliant retake on Fnatic. I've seen Sponge highlight this in the past. Fnatic, the way they like to defend this inner bomb site, Flusha pays it pretty far back, usually just behind the trains. They're one of the few teams that will consistently just flat out give up that inner bomb site and retake it. So when Fnatic actually came in for that, they don't really split up and push down all the lanes. All 4 members are on the left side of that inner train yard, and that makes it so difficult because you have to have, if you're NIP, you have to have at least 1 or 2 people spotting the sidewalk, spotting the other side. So Fnatic just completely circumvents that kind of a setup.
And now Draken is paying the ultimate price for that 10-second death with the AWP down to the Tech 9, but that is only really the only price they have to pay. Limited smokes as well, but looks like something was in the works for something quicker from NIP. Look at them bundled up in halls, and nothing's going to come of it because of a flash and a smoke. Flasher just walking away. Job done.
Yeah, this time it's going to be a little interesting for NIP because instead of, I mean, 1 player is rotating over right now, but 2 players close to ladder, that's going to be a very dangerous flank and even follow-up flank. And Fnatic has this read that nothing is coming outside, so everyone's rotating over.
Now, Fnatic are going pretty chill with this. 1 person holding the site, and actually, we'll talk about it later because here come NIP, and Olaf waves goodbye to Forest before anything else can start to form. Draken's low as well, down to 35. He does manage to scavenge a rifle. That will make this hold slightly easier, and Exist does what he must, as does Freiburg. You can see now, progressing into connector, that's going to really chop this defense, or retake rather, in half. JW tagged, not fragged yet, but looking to deliver the body bag from behind is Dennis. This could be 2, but Freiburg swift on the trigger. Now 2. Olaf and JW make it just JW as Exist finds his second, and now JW's on the retreat. It looks like NIP, despite being held up initially, have finally found a way into that B bomb site and held it. Sure, the bomb's gone down before, but this is the first round we're going to be seeing on the board for the Ninjas. I say that. JW, 6, 5. Okay, chill. Alex, put it away, put it away. Freiburg wasn't paying attention. It was the sneakiness by which he crawled.
They weren't going to let that happen.
I know.
That was too much of a good performance from Freiburg and Exist. Incredible stuff, because, I mean, NIP didn't have a lot to work with there. The fact that they're able to push up down those lanes, 2 kills for each of them, and fights that they're not even really advantaged in because they have no flashbangs. They don't have the smokes and molotovs. Freiburg had to be massively aggressive just to stay safe from people fighting from on his side. So, I mean, that's a really desperate play, but NIP, they have to string them together.
String them together they must, otherwise this is only going to get worse for them, conceding the round after their very first. And so, aggression towards Pop Dog. It's Exist who indeed does pop down Pop Dog. Nothing to be found there. Crims has got his eyes. It's evident it's been his responsibility to watch. And a slow round from NIP, spreading themselves out once again. Fnatic really giving them nothing at this point in time. They're forcing them to take these fights out in the open.
Well, here's JW. He's holding the angle out towards Ivy, and it looks like Draken's going to challenge again, but JW doesn't fall for that. Doesn't take the first shot, but Draken's got the angle. That's a mistake. That's a repeat that did not need to occur from JW. Draken's able to get the angle, and he peeks right into it.
Yeah, now there is a way in. They have the numbers advantage in NIP. They are going to try and seize it. By no means quickly, though. There's still 50 seconds on the clock. There is no need to force the hand of the Ninjas at this point in time. Group up. Get the CTs nervous, apprehensive about where this bomb is going to go. Does, to me, look like it could be a aggression towards that site, that inner site.
Yeah, NFP's, they like to put a lot of pressure on this. I mean, that last round was just basically no map control. Let's just hit it. Now, I mean, with 1 pick towards the outside, generally what NFP's thinking at the moment is that's going to take the first rotator away, and they've actually completely fooled Fnatic. Fnatic almost seems like it's decided to just gamble on that outer site. It's not going to work. They get back in time to at least make the retake possible. They can try and stop some of these players from getting in, pick 1 or 2 off.
So many nades rain down into the site at once, but look at Crim's solid control of the trigger, and it's going to be his teammate Flusha to finish the job. In quite stark contrast, Freiburg had to hit that shot. Olaf on top of the train, so aggressive, and surely going to be paying a price for his positioning, but he doesn't. And now Freiburg is in trouble, gets hunted down by a ravenous Olaf Meister, and now Draken is stuck between a rock and a hard place. And just the AWP to his name. He goes for an audacious no-scope on the ladder, sitting duck. And Dennis will be picking that one up.
certainly opportunities for NIP to win that round again.
3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, Freiburg pushing up, missed that bunny up on the upper ramp, and then just couldn't find anything once he goes in towards connector whatsoever. Nice control from Fnatic, and that's the thing. This is what makes them so powerful in retaking that inner bomb site is they can get their 2 kills when the teams enter. They can play far back, and as long as you get 1 to 2 kills, you're okay. You still have the advantage going into the retake.
And that is a perfect example as to why you do see teams play 1 to 4. 1 on the inner side, 4 outside, because retakes, well, if you play it like Fnatic, look oh so easy.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Fnatic is unique in the sense they can make it work frequently. I mean, if you're retaking that inner bomb site every single time at like a 4-on-4 situation, it's not going to pan out in your favor every single time.
Sure.
So most teams like to contest for, like to deny that.
Now, I mean, there is a tactical pause called here by NIP, and this serves as a firm reminder that Fnatic have been formidable on train. We've seen, you know, solid results. I think I do keep referring back to one in particular, 16-2, but even prior to that, they have looked profoundly strong on this map of all maps as they do return to these 5 players.
The crazy thing about that previous round is that NIP actually had them beat to a certain degree. They had them fooled. You saw Flush actually rotate away from that inner bomb site for just a second, and then they all come back and win it anyways. So, I mean, it's some tactical benefits there for NIP in that round, and they still can't win it out.
It felt like mission complete when you saw Fnatic kind of falling for it. You saw the bomb go down. Everything felt hunky-dory. Smokes holding down the Fnatic retake, but...
Well, it almost felt like they got a little bit too complacent with that. We're going to see a run boost here.
No!
That's absolutely failed.
Oh, that's awful.
That's absolutely failed.
Forest. He's going to feel like a bit of a melon. He'll be watching that one back, having nightmares of that tonight. Just slips off the bin and presents his booty to JW.
Well, no reason for JW to keep peeking, but that means he probably will. Molotov out. He'll peer over the flames, I'm sure. But at the moment, NIP's fallen away.
I mean, you should definitely explain to the viewers what he was trying to do.
So the run boost, the mechanic with the run boost is that top player, when he jumps during the run on top, it launches him over at an increased speed. So that helps maybe avoid the eyesight of an opera who's zoomed in. You kind of jump over the scope. Unfortunately, they went a little bit too far with it, and Forrest, just gets shot in the side of the head.
Yeah, it did look rather comical from JW's perspective. I'm sure he's having a chuckle now as he holds down Ivy. But I mean, yes, dream scenario here for NIP is that bomb goes down, but with nothing, not even a single smoke, a flash, nothing to try and find their way into this side. It's almost just a matter of time. Perhaps using this as well as that tactical timeout just to have a chat and think about where things are going wrong.
I mean, that's not a bad idea. We've referenced it frequently. It used to be a tactic by the French teams when Existence was in there. Yeah, the Existence timeout was essentially just a round where you buy nothing and you just draw out the round as long as humanly possible to get extra time to chat about things. No reason not to do it there for NIP. The tough part is, I mean, if you think back to even pistol round where they had a man advantage, and then you think back to that previous gun round where they had a man advantage, this is, that's awkward.
It's almost like kind of hold me, Jack. Like they're locking eyes, Existent Forest as he falls.
That round's almost like a perfect microcosm of NIP lately.
Oh, yeah. Isn't it? Beautiful. NIP and their struggles in a nutshell. Not something you would have seen back in the day. But Fnatic, they do seem to be rising from their ashes, truly, looking so strong here in Kiev. And they want to be able to show that in the playoffs. They can't get there unless they win this map. NIP do stand in their way, and this is by far from over.
Well, it's going to come down to this duel. This is huge. This is where we've seen it go both ways. It's 1-for-1 between JW and Draken. And JW's going to love taking that fight. He's going to win it again. 2-1 now.
I guess you have to admire Draken's resilience in trying to take that fight, trying to break through. Although some call it resilience, some would call it stupidity. And Olof challenged by 2 simultaneously and doesn't sweat. Just 2 quick frags for him. Yes, down to 30, but that is the end of the round for NIP.
That's just an Olaf Meister sequence for him to win there, because it makes no sense how he wins that second fight. It's just somehow he does. Somehow he controls the spray. And JW, we know he likes his mid-round aggression. And Ivy, he's going to clean out Freiburg. This is looking deadly from Fnatic. NIP just getting suffocated at the moment.
I think suffocated is the perfect word because you can't see any room for them to breathe. I haven't seen. Have we seen one just fast take outside, just basically getting out ahead of a Molotov and having some control in the
Not
side.
quite yet. Well, the issue with that as well. I mean, we talked about this in the SK game when they like to do this fast outside strats against FaZe. They need the utility to do it. You need to have the proper nades and everything. NIP hasn't gotten there yet. I wish we could have seen maybe Draken's POV or NIP's POV during that peak towards Ivy that previous round to see if there was some kind of flashbang to at least help him out. See if they're trying to set him up, because they were very light on utility. I don't even know if they even had it.
An all too familiar sight for us here in the 8 rounds of play so far is NIP with a limited economy, and it is just going to be P250s rushing down JW, and he's not going down without a fight. Finally, someone puts him in a grave in a second. Draken. Fortunately, they're going to stabilize. It's going to be 2 for Crims, 1 for Olof on the outside. It's been all too long since they got all of the action. It'll be Crims to put the cherry on top. 3 for him in this round, and I mean, Crims was always regarded as this incredibly, like, pinnacle of CT-sided players. You know, some of the particular positions, Inferno, Dust 2.
And I think that's the scary, almost one of the scariest parts about this team is if Crims is back, what he's able to do as a player when he anchors bomb sites and his movement, his mobility, and his way to play passive and still win fights allows Fnatic to be aggressive on other sides as CT. That's kind of like the leverage point they have, where he's just somewhere and they know they can rely so much on him to be a rock and to be clutch, and then that's when they make their information and aggressive plays elsewhere.
And now the weapons do begin once again. Looks like Draken may have learned his lesson, not taking the fight with JW. I think it's about 2, if not 3 to 1 at this point in that AWP exchange towards Ivy. And, oh, Crims. He hasn't been here before. And NIP, they could get caught off by this. They look like they're setting up for some sort of execute. You can see the smokes are being coordinated now. They're going to come out at the same time. But should they walk into Crims, he's just going to put a big fat stop sign in front of their face.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. They haven't seen this kind of aggression yet. If they get caught off guard by it, the strategy's almost over before it even begins. And here's the peak. He's going to spray him down. They line up 2. Crims, that's masterful. And the round is over.
Crims, we were just talking about him, his positioning, anchoring bomb sites, and then he just goes and blows all of that out of the water. An aggressive push from Crims. And now look at this. Exist as T is mollying T main. That is right. This is the situation we're in. Draken is locked out of the site. Crims is holding the AWP away. It's essentially a 2v4 on the site. Fortunately, Exist is prowling 2 now. JW down. And it's becoming slightly possible. Crims still low, holding a big shadow over this bomb site. Get Right has to be aware of multiple positions at once. Had he hit that, we had a chance. No, now Draken needs to punish Crims for his earlier damage, and damage was spectacular. 2 rounds back-to-back, he takes 3 kills.
That is so dirty. He stops everything they wanted to do. Still, NIP claw themselves back into this round. Dennis is going to be inside. He's got low HP, but Draken with the AWP, that's actually the best weapon that Dennis could be going against, and he might just win this by pure mobility. Draken's not checking it whatsoever. Dennis misses the shots, though.
He does have such little health. A pistol. 1 bullet from that would have put him down, but lack of communication or didn't quite gauge where that damage was done, and that's going to go the way of Fnatic rather easily. Just caught with the bomb in his pants. Bomb in his pants. Bomb in his hands and his pants down his ankles.
You know, we talked about communication on the desk earlier today. And the thing with Crims being pushed up, as soon as his teammates call smokes, flashes raining over, that's when he's like, all right, I'm peeking. That's when they're at their most vulnerable, right?
But, I mean, the fact that he's probably hearing pins, if not, he's hearing the nades bouncing, and he's probably just getting really excited. His eyes slightly widen as he starts to take that push. He knows what's coming.
2 kills on people with knives and grenades in their hands.
So couldn't be better.
That's not bad. And then just from there, just delaying. I mean, you could see him just staying in connector and not being too aggressive, taking fights. Like, while his teammates are dying outside, by the way, he knows the position is the most important.
Yeah, and you saw a quick glance at the scoreboard as well. Get Right has yet to frag. That's a real tough one for him. I mean, I did see an interview saying these last 6 months to a year have been some of the most difficult for him.
Yeah.
And I mean, this game is certainly looking like salt in the wound at this point. Of course, not over. And I'm sure anyone will tell you that the CT side is favored, but in this way, in the lack of frags from NIP, we haven't seen like really a glimpse of anything that looks like it can be strung together.
That's the thing. The CT side is definitely favored, but like this kind of domination is frightening if you're an NIP fan, because they're not finding much success at all.
Fnatic, on the other hand, have looked exceptional.
Well, Olaf has 16 kills. There's the other scary win condition for Fnatic. One of like the 10 that they have.
Yeah, Olofmeister turns up, and Olofmeister gets close to what he was before. And you remember why everybody feared him in the server. Even maybe perhaps his own team. Here we go, though. The flashes are coming out. This is good control from NIP. They managed to get relatively far up. That bomb could go down, but they want fights first. They need to get a couple of bodies in the ground, and they've done so. What? 2 with a Molotov. Freiburg, of course, helped by Get Right. That's still not a kill, though. Chris is going to be hunting. The bomb does go down. Double peek from Fnatic. The remaining 2 are cut down to 1. Forest is going to finish the job. That was what they needed, and they do what they couldn't with weapons with just Tech 9s.
Yeah, and they need more of it. And the reason why maybe it works out is the Tech 9s. You can throw caution to the wind a little bit more. Yeah,
it was quick.
Quick, and also, I mean, once they get in, the Molotovs and the choke point, that's becoming very, very popular. I noticed earlier teams were actually rotating through CT spawn specifically to avoid that. I think it was FaZe who did that against SK. But pushing up with those Tech 9s, you block the retake from even occurring.
If ever you're wondering if you should buy a Molotov, Freiburg shows you exactly why. Fnatic forced to push over it, and it cost them their lives. Now, though, Olaf and GW are going for the double AWP. We've been taught to fear the double AWPs by G2. And indeed, Fnatic's Olaf JW certainly not teddy bears. They will be intimidating to many. And Draken, his responsibility is going to be to find them.
I'm not sure if he wants to at this point.
True.
And actually, the interesting thing is Olaf is actually playing it towards the inner bomb side. He was watching the lower crack, so, I mean, if he had stayed down there for a second longer, Get Right threw a flash to prevent that, but would have been a chance there for Olaf Meister. Either way, Get Right has control of Box Hall, so a little bit of information over to the NIP squad. Looks like they still just want to have this control. I mean, this is just a default across the map. They can switch into a variety of different things here, but at the moment, Fnatic again playing that retake towards the inner bomb site. It's just flusha there.
Yeah, but just flusha has the bottom of the scoreboard, still 5 more than that of Get Right, sitting on a real tough goose egg at this point in time.
Looks like Draken actually has gone away from that IV.
He has given up, hasn't he?
Oh, here it is. This is the typical, this is trademark JW. One of the few operas who will even think about doing this.
And Freiburg seems to be prepared for it, but I mean, it's all V8, and he missed the shot. Huge as he takes away a big investment from Fnatic and a player down. Ivy now looking all the more appealing for Freiburg, and NIP have actually changed their plans, but look who's waiting. It's Crims in Pop Dog. Get Right forced to just sit back and wait. A Molotov will extend that wait, and now Draken's trying to force Crims out. This is a bit of a mess. NIP, though, still back's turned. It's going to be Freiburg who's caught as Dennis does emerge from the smoke, and oh, such control as it's actually flusha to catch him. And now Get Right, not a second chance. flusha just shuts him down at range with the M4. And look at that. I mean, that felt like everything you needed to start a round off was there.
This is 3 separate times though NIP's actually got the opening kill and lost the round. Not able to convert those into wins. And Fnatic, I mean, a lot of it is just their positioning. You could see once they get that kill, one player was rotating in, but one's in ladder, and NIP's thinking, yeah, like the last time we did this, they had the inside bomb site stacked, so we'll go outside, we'll make this into a fake, and we'll fool them. And they just run into Crims in the ladder room. I mean, if we're going to keep harping on how important Crims is, he even gets this kill.
As a Molotov lands at his toes, no worries. Okay, there is a UMP in play. That's JW after losing the AWP. NIP perhaps keeping them honest. I can't check their money.
Or just why not?
Or just JW things. Yeah, indeed, you're 10-2 up. Looking for that playoff spot. 6 rounds is all you need.
And back to inner, right? This should be maybe not an easy read, but it should be kind of expected from Fnatic at this point. The only success NIP's had is towards that inner bomb site, and because they play it so passive as well, you can usually get a plant at the very least.
Well, let's see if they can do that. The nades will rain in from Fnatic, trying to get them low, and, well, Freiburg is so low, he's 6 feet under. Now Forest pushing forward. This needs to be 2, and it is. Beautiful provisions from Forest gets NIP into this round. They dig their teeth in, they'll dig their souls in to the ground, and now it's down to that UMP. JW perhaps regretting this now on the retake. Long-range fights, but just as I say that, Forest does go down. He did the necessary duty, though. Draken, just stay alive. Your life is more valuable than that frag, but no, JW's nade's going to land in his top pocket of his NIP gaming jersey. Crims gets another. Oh, and this round, when you're 4-3 up, you've got SMGs retaking you, and you still can't do it. NIP are in serious trouble. Dennis is going to secure the round for them as the bomb defuse does come in, and that's 11. Now, I mean, Jason, if you're standing behind witnessing that, how on earth, what do you whisper in their ears as threat?
It's just, they need to be a little bit more assertive. I mean, Draken couldn't decide if he wanted to peek or take a fight or not. Forrest as well was in a situation where he couldn't decide if he wanted to keep pushing up and fighting. 2 great kills. They even secure the site. I mean, the UMP is tough, obviously. That dink just seals it for Draken.
And the HE, man.
And again, it's almost fooling NIP. Once again, I mean, Fnatic not even sending anyone down sidewalk. They're just sending them through the middle of that inner bomb site or towards upper ramp on top of the trains. But you can see Exist crouched down at the lower ramp, was smoked off for sidewalk. He didn't have any information, but they had to keep eyes on it.
NIP with just 2 rounds on the T side of train. This was the map they vetoed to. I mean, a best of 1 veto. Usually expect them to be able to put up some degree of a fight. Yes, T side train, but Fnatic have looked absolutely unfazed by anything NIP have thrown at them. Oh, talking of throwing at them, JW can't seem to get the nade right.
Oops. Yeah, that's all right, though. Crims is going to hold this down. He's completely blind, though, unfortunately. Exist is going to take him out. There's a chance they can swarm the bomb site, but Fnatic, they close the gaps in the defense. Crossfires everywhere. And there's Dennis. A swift cleanup.
This is a slaughter, Jason. Yes, perhaps limited by, but this is just far too familiar of a sight. Fnatic still 4-5 standing, and the NIP boys down and out.
I mean, this has been brewing since round early on. Remember, when Fnatic ballooned that economy up very, very well. They could sustain the losses. NIP hasn't been able to string anything together. But more importantly, they haven't had any success outside. I mean, you wondered, why haven't they done anything fast outside? It's a very good question because, I mean, they're getting dominated out there, first of all. But if you can't establish any kind of danger outside, it's not going to make hitting the B-bomb site any easier.
Yeah, and easier certainly would be a dream for NIP, just to get this last one on the board, try and end on some degree of a high. JW is going to be white, and that will surely be him down. No, he manages to evade it while full flashed Pure white on his screen, hash FFFF. And now, backing away, it's going to be 2 for 2. Now, Get Right and Exist have a chance, but he's going to get caught with a Molotov, and a bullet does go straight into his calf as he tries to get behind the train. Goes hunting. I like the aggression, but that spurt of aggression is punished. It's the CZ, Flush's signature. As now it's all on to Get Right. Yes, perhaps a bomb plant, but he has to hold this. He needs the third.
Yeah, and he's had a rough game so far. I mentioned a couple times, 0 kills just a couple rounds ago, but this would be a huge clutch to give his team any kind of window, any kind of chance into the second half.
A cerebral player, profound clutches in the past, but this is so important.
I don't think Fnatic has no idea what bomb site it is. They do now, but I mean, JW is outside and actually Flush now has this angle. This is going to be dangerous. Knows exactly where Get Right is.
Such a good read. They've managed to force him out. Now he knows there's one on the site. He has to take this fight quickly. It's a good plan. Get Right needs this frag, needs it quickly. Unfortunately, the aim is not quite where it should be. Flush is going to go hunting, and oh, it's going to be easy for him. AWP v AK, and Flusher gets another one, and yes, Get Right, I understand. His face says it all. I will not say another word. He needs that bump. There it is.
Yeah, that kind of sums it all up right there, doesn't it? Get Right had the chance. And I mean, Fnatic had no idea where that bomb was planted. 2 players split up, both at each bomb site. Flusha sniffs him out. Perfect find from him. And you could just see the frustration on Get Right's face.
I just love the juxtaposition between the NIP cam and the Fnatic cam. I mean, I think if I showed you just those 2 camera shots and I asked you what the score was, you would get pretty close. This is where it all started, though. This is rewinding the clock all the way.
Just so many UMP kills and not enough damage brought out by NIP in those first few rounds. It just allowed Fnatic to have such a... They could have whatever they wanted that entire half.
Absolutely, they did. Well, we are going to be taking a quick break. When we do come back, our second half, we'll see if NIP can cobble their way back into this game. They have to win this to get the spot, or will it be Fnatic? It has been an uphill struggle for the NIP boys. It's just 2 rounds on the T side of train. They have a chance to defend now, but myself, Machine, and Moses is joining me to guide through what could very well be just a few more rounds. We ended with Get Right putting his hands to his face, an exclamation of distress. And
looking like he was having like a night terror.
Yeah.
Then he went over to Fnatic, and they were having just the best dream of all time.
They really are chirpy. I'm seeing smiles on Crims's face. I mean, 19 frags in one half certainly makes sense.
It looks like the first time we've seen this Fnatic actually happy in quite some time. And
Hello.
I mean, why not? They're playing so well.
And we've seen Fnatic do this earlier on in the tournament, but they have given Olaf the tech and Kev. That's not what it's called, Alex, but I'm going to do it anyway. And still, that's going to be Exist. Getting 2 swift frags. That's a solid start. If ever they needed a pistol round, it would be this one.
Yeah, not only does
I don't want to call it a raid boss. What's the magical word now?
I think it is a raid boss.
I think, no, Henry has refused. He's calling it a Superman.
Oh, why not?
There you go. That's for you, Henry. And Olaf does use the Superman to some extent. It's just going to be Forest down.
I don't think Henry can talk about words we use in casting when Matt is calling things Jaden rounds.
I mean, it has been limited now to very specific instances where Matt gets to say that.
Well, either way, I mean, exist with the 2 kills. Those were huge, but obviously the map control that it affords allows them to just keep 4 players outside, and that is instantaneous. There's Dennis. Still danger when he's got a pistol in his hands. Get right. This is not a fun fight, but he's actually winning it. 24 HP for flusha.
Flusha, mate, you need a pistol. It's called a pistol round for a reason. There it is. Finds one. But the bomb does go down, and so, oh dear, Dennis has got Get Right now as well. Surely not. Draken and Freiburg, it could very well just be Draken though, but Freiburg takes a fight with very low HP. He knows where they're coming from. Dennis, we know he's the master of the pistol rounds, but not today. Oh, I wiped the sweat from my brow. I don't want to know what they're feeling like.
It did take like 3 or 4 people to take him down, didn't it? It took like a double peek there right at the end as well. Freiburg had to risk it and just say, I hope he's not looking at me because I have no HP for this fight, but good teamwork between him and Draken at the end.
I mean, that is the most needed pistol round we have seen today. You're 12-3 down against a very scary-looking Fnatic, and picking up that pistol. I say 12-3, excuse me, 13-2. It's even worse than I imagined. There exists first 2, though, and you can see that even with a Glock, Dennis is just lethal. He even got Freiburg down to 18.
Yeah, just gooshes him at long range with like the 2nd bullet. Not a lot. That doesn't happen too often, though. Freiburg had to feel very, very frustrated when that comes in. Either way, they still win it. This is cool to see as well. With the plant and the massive lead, obviously, Fnatic, they're not going to invest into this round. Dennis has the deagle because why not? It's Dennis. But, I mean, just really relying on this massive lead, this big cushion they have to be able to win this out at some point.
I think this actually tells us more than you may imagine. We're going to see some frags getting cleaned up by NIP, but just seeing NIP not get greedy, not go, right, let's finish this, not having that slight kind of swagger to their play. Instead, they're just chilling. This win means an awful lot to them. We will see NIP pick that up without losing a weapon. That's, of course, the most observable fact here. And just look at that scoreboard briefly. You can see 2 members of NIP yet to find the double digits. Just keep your eyes on that as we do venture into the CT side.
Yeah, 2 players with very different stories, obviously. Draken and Get Right. One very storied and very historic, a legend of the game, and then one just the newest addition to this roster, doesn't have a lot of pro experience. So, yeah, that's very tough. 2 of the most impactful players you'd think on this roster. Maybe that speaks a little bit to why the score is such a wide margin at the moment. But NIP going to be tested early. AK-47's out on the board for Fnatic. They have decent utility as well.
Lots of utility used early. Stark contrast to what we saw from Fnatic, almost just happy to take the fights. But Freiburg has been given the responsibility of Ivy, and look at this restraint. Information gathered and smoke used. Where the hell did that door come from? What? Draken's going to take down Dennis, and they have the early advantage. That is exactly what the doctor ordered.
Freiburg throws a Molotov into his smoke by accident, but he had to have spotted or heard the guns of at least 2. That's definitely the call he made, was his 2 minimum over towards Ivy. Meanwhile, NIP, they get aggressive in team mid, and they find 1 kill. So take map control when they lose some.
Freiburg and Forest separated by smoke. It's a romantic story that they're going to change right now. That's 1 down, and another solid teamwork from the double Fs. And then JW and flusha left to try and climb something back, claw their way back into this round, but looks like Freiburg's got other plans. It is then down to flusha, and all eyes on him. That will be the 5th for NIP. And that's the start of a very long journey ahead if they won that playoff spot.
Yeah, but they can do this, obviously. We've seen them have massive comebacks before, and at the moment it's just a one round at a time cliche. That's a good start. They survive with only 1 person falling. They can build up some of their own money. Very similar to Fnatic's start to their dominant half, where just a lot of money ballooned right off the bat.
1 step at a time, 1 round at a time. It's so easily said and not so often done. But again, a very weak buy from Fnatic, just a couple of PT50s. But Glaive gave us a masterclass in that earlier on. Mirage, won't forget that one in a hurry.
Yeah, that was dirty. That's going to live around for a while. A lot of utility towards team mid, and they're just chilling behind the flames. Now they rush out.
God, I love these camera shots. It's like we're watching a movie, and I get to be part of it. There goes Get Right, just knocking them down. None of that, please. Let's get that Kevlar off you as well, Crims, or not. Nice work. He managed to get 2 somehow. Wow. Dangerous with no matter what weapon he has. And actually, they need to stop this bomb from going down. It's free money at this point, and he will get it. Draken just a little slow on that challenge, but it will be the 6th. But still, plenty of money in Fnatic's pockets.
It's going to be interesting to see how they approach this. It's also good to see Get Right. I mean, one way to get yourself back into the game, you know, we criticize it sometimes, but go eco hunting.
Oh, absolutely.
Get off that. Get off the
those
one.
R-dubs, man.
Yeah, get that up there. Get some kills on the board, so every time you hit tab, you start seeing a bigger number. And you can see here, fighting in the flames, not overextending at all, but 3 kills is going to help him out. Plant's not a huge issue. 13-6, and JW's got that up. Now, he won the duel with Draken convincingly in the first half.
I'm excited to see whether things change now. The sides have. The bomb's going to be left by Fnatic. That's an indication that nothing quick shall be coming of this, or at least nothing involving a plant. Still, we are seeing NIP going for 2 onto B as their standard, as their default. And we can see that that's going to be challenged out already because one of them's going to have to think about rotating. JW catches Forest.
Yeah, that's tough. He was just posted in middle as well.
What happened?
Forest gets a little bit overexposed. Good find from JW. 5-on-4. NIP lost most of their man advantage situations as terrorists in the first half, and they need to hold this one now.
Now, we saw Fnatic overcome the numbers disadvantage on what? I don't know, 5, 6 times on their CT side. Now it's NIP's turn. Now, what do you make of this?
Yeah, this is a gamble. I don't. This is all right. I don't mind this, but the issue is Fnatic isn't the kind of team that's just going to group up and execute to a site the way that NIP did. Fnatic is going to probe each of these bomb sites with individuals and see what they're working with. Boost at the moment from Crims. 3 players inside for NIP, and it's just, I mean, they're putting a lot of faith in Draken with this AWP.
I was just thinking the same. Draken, you have just been told to hold off a full 5-man Fnatic squad should they come his way. He has got his trusty AWP, but you know what? NIP's gamble could very well be coming up trump.
Well, I imagine this is, you can see Olaf, he's starting to get aggressive towards Ivy, so they're just saying, all right, Olaf, you start making attention, take and find a fight, but NIP has a great read.
A fantastic read, and it's going to be paying off. Let's see then. Eyes are on Draken at the moment. I'd rather see what's going on over on that inner side, because here comes the challenges, and Fnatic are winning every single one of them. Freiburg. Not even going to get a chance at that low health. Crims just walks out wide peak. Bye-bye, 14. Whew, close to that 16.
Here's the real heartbreak, is NIP did everything right that round. With the man disadvantage, they had 3 players to the site that Fnatic hit, and they still didn't get any kills. Everyone got wiped off the map.
Outrageous. Simply outrageous how easily that looked. I mean, you have got the read. Normally, we just talked about it, Fnatic were retaking that site and have been forced to come back in against utility, against Molotovs. NIP were there, set up, eyes on the 2 entry points, and still Fnatic prevail. It has been exceptional from them so far, and now just within touching distance of that playoff spot. A chance to play in front of a full crowd tomorrow, and with a sexy stage.
Well, that's good to see. Draken getting aggressive down Ivy, finds a pick, but again, man advantage situation for NIP. That op now is going to remain outside. They need to prevent themselves. Forrest is the one who got picked off last time, but they need to be very careful because JW, look how patient he's being. And these flick shots are his trademark.
There's no way. If Draken does walk up, thank goodness, Draken sighs a sigh of relief as he does win the fight versus JW. Not necessarily a guarantee. In fact, we saw a lot of that, or the contrary of that on the first. Now, eyes trained. He's expecting another towards team main, and just feeding him. And Dennis shoulder peeks out, confirms his location, and that's going to be a 3rd now for Drake. And this must be feeling awfully good for the youngster.
It's got to be feeling awfully good for NIP because this is why they picked him up. This is what they've missed for so long, as an opper who could be this aggressive and who could get towards the choke point and find them the opening kills. They don't have to play passive with him. So this is a very good round for Drake, and they're going to need more of it in this comeback. But at the moment, it looks like this shouldn't be a very dangerous round. No one's taken damage yet. They just need to prevent themselves from losing those players that would force them into rebuys.
Shouldn't be the operative word. Fortunately, Exist is going to get one for himself as well, and now Crims has got a decision to make. Not a single point of damage. No one got hit by a nade, no one got even seen by a nade or a bullet, and so Crims grabbing hold of that AWP for JW and is just going to go ahead and cower towards T-Spawn. Now, the question is, would anyone in NIP go hunting? And I mean, that's a decision I'll let them come up with. We saw some prime exit frags in that CLG game. Yeah,
it looks like I mean they are pushing towards it. I don't think they're going to be too committed. They might just wait and see if he peeks something. Freiburg's clearing things out. Him and Force might be, I mean, that kind of gives away his position, but they're too far away. I think actually, no.
Oh.
Had a small chance, a couple bullets. But NIP immediately respond at the very least. They reset the economy. There is one op saved, and we know JW can do this. We know he can have that impact, and behind this op as well. Remember, the last round, they had that stack towards the inner bomb site, and Fnatic cleared him out anyways. Yeah. No one fell for Fnatic, so this is still going to be a pretty good buy, all things considered, out of the Fnatic team.
I mean, you say pretty good. I'm seeing probably, what, 3 or 4 missing nades. That's about it. No complaints from them as they managed to get that one over. It looks like they're giving it to Olaf as well. The assumption would be that it's JW, and a missed Molotov as well from NIP could give them a way in, but things are going to be much slower on the Fnatic camp this time. Just taking a stroll through halls, and Olaf, eyes trained on this Ivy peak. Such a contention point here on train.
Draken spots one jumping across. You can see almost considered peeking it, but he knows that could be dangerous.
His positioning has been so close quarters.
Yep. It's not. I mean, it's not bad though. I mean, that's a position you see just one shot and fall back. But I mean, the good thing is he didn't stick around and take a risk once one player jumped over. He said, "All right, they saw me here, so why would I stick around?" Now he is at the back of the bomb train with that AWP, so a missed shot is going to give the opportunity for them to wrap upon him. He needs to be accurate here.
His first shot is important. Evades the flash and he can't hit it between the legs. But fortunately, Exist is present too. That is indeed a gift. But Fnatic have the numbers and they have the bomb. They're going to shave 10 seconds off that clock now as it does go down. Fortunately, Forest keeps things level, and now he will just await his teammate. They're going to come in together. It's none other than Forest and freiburg, veterans of this very game. They've been in situations like this before, but this one is incredibly important. The playoffs are starting to bloom for Fnatic. 14, this looks like 15 unless they can speed things up. 20 seconds, you can see it there. That's information gathered, but time still becoming a factor. Dennis, he just has to stay alive at this point. Here comes the hunt, that's one. It's a 1v1 freiburg. He's just going to get played with. Flusher toying with his food, it's brutal. He needs to get it now, and Flusher will bring home 15, his third in the round, and Fnatic, they are on the precipice of victory.
These are the small things that make Fnatic so dangerous. That is a beautifully played round by Dennis. At the bomb train, he knows freiburg is coming up on his left side of that bomb train, and he knows he has Flush, his teammate, at the upper ramp. So instead of fighting freiburg in a one-on-one, he swings out to the right, and they both group up on that player that's pushing up a ramp. Just making sure that Flusha, massive advantage in that position in the one-on-one, just making sure he's set up to win the round.
They're on the edge of glory, or at least an opportunity to get there, and I am seeing a text, so we are just going to go ahead and stop that round. Whew, sigh of relief. As, oh, 2 monitors, of all times for that to happen.
Hello.
Well, you can see giggles from Fnatic.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously Fnatic's loving it. Wow, yeah. NIP on the other hand. Yeah, turning around, the booth is...
It's complete darkness.
It is black, it is dark.
They've thrown a flashbang into the booth.
That is, yeah, that's just one more thing to pile on to NIP at this point,
right,
isn't it?
so you know when you're playing a game, you're playing your own game of CS,
yep.
And then stuff, like you're having a bad game and then stuff outside of game starts annoying you? Like,
oh, yeah.
Like, I don't know, it's a bit cold in here, or could you stop, like your roommate comes in to talk to you?
It's usually the opposite way, isn't it? Usually like playing a game and someone will come into your room and like turn the lights on,
right.
And then that's when you get tilted.
Exactly. You'll find any excuse.
That's usually when
bloody chat.
It's usually when you quit the game, take a timeout, 10 minutes away.
I'm telling you, man, this armrest is squeaking or something. You know, you find anything. Well, that's definitely not NIP's fault, and that is definitely going to be difficult to process. And I come back from this position, Jason. I mean, it's a discussion that's probably not even worth having.
No, not yet at the very least. But with the level that Fnatic is playing, I mean, if somehow just something changes and they all of a sudden let this one slip away, I think this almost wouldn't even be talked about as like a comeback from NIP. This would be talked about as how did Fnatic collapse this hard, because they're playing so well. There doesn't seem to be a world in which they can lose this game. Everyone is making right decisions. Everyone's playing well together. Crims is looking great. Olaf has been phenomenal. So I mean, NIP just has a mountain to climb still.
Absolutely, and we'll let them.
Lights are back on.
Get on the server first of all. But yeah, mountain to climb it is. It's Mount Everest. They have overcome some adversity at this tournament, and then of course, most appropriately, they meet none other than Fnatic, rivals of a past CS:GO life. And now it's just going to be a question of how long can you hold on? And notice in this highlight reel, it's a great deal of Fnatic that we are witnessing.
Still in the first half. I mean, that was all Fnatic.
It was all Fnatic. 13-2.
Yeah.
I mean, how often do you get to see that? Perhaps on train a bit more often. That was one of my favorites. Crims just adding suddenly a little bit of spice to his play. Goes aggressive the first time in the round and profits from it tremendously.
And I mean, you could see some of these, now we're starting to get later in the half. I mean, NIP gave themselves opportunities. We're seeing a lot of like 3-on-3 retakes. Yeah. That one, unfortunately, the other two players had Tech 9s. It was Exist who had to scavenge and NIP to try and make it work. But I mean, you have these situations where you could have feasibly seen NIP coming on top and maybe scraping 4 or 5 rounds out of that first half.
Did you notice Dennis doing the Spartan cry, you know, with the chest beating? I like that.
Why not?
That's where they're at, but there's still camaraderie, still concentration from NIP. This is not an opportunity you let go lightly. And you know what? Yes, the monsters may have gone off. Perhaps this is just 5 minutes of, you know, you turn the lights off, you close your eyes, bit of meditation, bit of mindfulness.
Where are we going to this one, Alex? Turn the lights off, close your eyes?
I mean, that's your line, right?
I mean, this is like we're getting into like this era of like super teams, right? Where like it seems like there's been certain teams that have like had so many struggles getting back to good form that we haven't seen them happy at events in some time. Like when you're at this event now, obviously, we see Fnatic and these player cams looking just ecstatic, and why not? G2 over here at this event, for the first time I've seen French teams looking very, very happy at events, having a good time.
I saw Smith's dancing earlier.
Yeah.
I'm not even lying.
Why not?
He was doing a full-on dance.
Navi's looking happy. Navi hasn't looked happy in a while. I mean,
yeah,
all
I
these
saw smile.
all the work they're putting in is coming to bear here.
Absolutely, and you know what? This is what you were talking about.
Yeah.
You know, you did that tweet saying, you know, the more time between events, the better the CS we see. And we have, of course, about 4 weeks have passed since Katowice.
Especially when there's roster changes,
Look what happens now, yeah.
I mean, you have to have that time to come back to fix issues. So, I mean, that's why it's interesting watching like Astralis, the way they're approaching this tournament circuit and saying, you know, we're doing one event per month, essentially. We just know they pulled out of ESO1 Cologne just because the major is the following week. So we have a lot of teams going into the major, playing at a massive event just the week before. That'll be interesting to see how they perform in that. But obviously, I think, you know, we had that one break in December, the holiday break, and then came back right into the major at the end of January, and we saw some of the most exciting, certainly, maybe not the best, but some of the most exciting Counter-Strike in a long time.
Yeah, I definitely had goosebumps more than once.
We're going to have another break after this major, and then we're going to go right into Malmo after a month off, so we'll see how the Counter-Strike is at that event. But, I mean, definitely these teams, I think, are starting to realize that this exhaustion is a real thing. We were starting to see some of these smaller events not get the big names anymore.
And you know what? I don't think there is any problem in that.
No,
I think the idea of it is actually very exciting. Because there is so much up-and-coming talent, the fact that we are seeing new names we're unfamiliar with rising through the ranks, there's variety of platforms online. But you know what? If their big events are more spaced out and more profitable, you get to see T2 on a bigger stage. I would have zero complaints.
It's the best way to curate new talent, to bring them up.
The DreamHack Open circuit will very soon become exactly that. It will become that Tier 2 competition where you get to see the rising stars before they are here on the big stage.
Absolutely.
At StarSeries, hey, appropriate.
Well, that's where we saw. Yeah, that's not bad. Well done. You walked right into that one, and you're just gonna act like you planned it, didn't you?
I mean, they pretty much called this series StarSeries because of the stars. Yeah, I'm definitely not taking credit for that one.
But I mean, think about it as well. We saw at the end of last year. We saw Gambit win DreamHack Open in Jönköping.
That's right.
And then now they're all of a sudden busted onto the stage, and they've been competing with the Tier 1. So, good stuff.
And that is exactly what I want. I think everyone does as well. The more competitive Counter-Strike, the more entertaining stuff we get, and it is said once, it's said multiple times, but this is the most competitive, at least by many. I'll let you kind of give it voice.
This is the most competitive era of Counter-Strike. I'm assuming that's where you're going.
Yes,
this is the most competitive era of Counter-Strike we've had.
Good. I feel like it holds more weight coming from your mouth, so I'll let you say it.
No, I mean, easily there are so many teams. And I mean, this is the thing. It's no longer guaranteed that you'll get out of group stages anymore.
Yeah.
Look at VP and SK now got out of the groups 2 events in a row. Katowice now here. That's astounding to see. We're seeing a lot of the smaller Hellraisers coming out of nowhere to be a challenge to a lot of different teams. That's very cool to witness. Fnatic coming back into things. G2 coming back into things. All of a sudden, there's 5 to 6 very, very dangerous teams who could win an event at any one point.
Oh, 100%, yes. It's an exciting prospect, I think, for viewers and players and casters alike.
Forrest is happy.
He's always happy, though. He's the bubbly one. You know, if you're introducing them like they were kind of like a girls' sitcom, you're like, Forrest, the bubbly one.
What would be Exist?
Exist would be the quiet stranger.
The quiet stranger.
Yeah. I don't know where these are coming from, and we should probably stop before I embarrass myself further. I did just hear a sound that suggested we might be getting back into things. I'm seeing mice moving, and lights are back on in the NIP booth.
Yeah.
For anyone that has just joined us, by the way, we are not just talking about a variety of sitcoms. We are here waiting to get back underway. And actually, if you have missed it, Fnatic have been on a tear on train, and it's about to continue. We're back in, and Kiev is happy. And as am I, to be sitting next to you, Jason, talking about some sexy CS. It's 15-7, and Olof is getting one step closer to 16 as he takes Get Right straight out of the round. He's forced to watch now as his team battle for survival.
That looked painful. That looked like Get Right just had no indication that was even a possibility of coming, just getting blindsided by that op. Maybe that means Olaf. I mean, they did pass the op over to Olaf Meister and back to JW, so Olaf probably just had the best spawn.
No, I like that from Draken. Up against the odds. Down a man, still jump peeking into main, try and level the odds, trying to make the play. And it's something that NIP have not necessarily had in previous iterations. The likes of Pit. Definitely Makaleli kind of play for sure, but that's a while ago.
I mean, look at the awkward spot this puts Exist in. Look how far back he has to play because he just doesn't have a lot of confidence. He knows that 15-7, like if there's a hit outside, he needs to get there. He needs to help out. So they're playing a very risky game with that B bomb site where not only if Fnatic hit it, would they have to play retake, but Exist could just even be blocked out. They might not even have a leg to retake. Fortunately, Fnatic seems to be gearing up to be outside split.
Let's see how this one does shape up. Fnatic do have very, very comfortable positions. Going to be pincering in. Looks like the time is a little off kilter, but that's information gathered huge from Freiburg. HE does make their job a little easier on this fight, and Crims is going to finish the job he started with the Galil, and oh, it's looking like it's all over. Crims 2 with the Galil. What can you do, Draken? It's your time to shine, and shining bright he is. That's going to be, oh, not a third, but he's still surviving, still fighting, and it's down to him. It will be Dennis to put the final nail in the NIP coffin. Fnatic are in the playoffs, and it is so justified, Jason.
Yeah, astounding stuff. Just a contact play out towards Ivy. What a nice hit. I mean, as soon as he is spotted by Freiburg, it's Crims with 2 big entries. He did a lot this game. But Fnatic, we've talked about on the desk, they look like they're getting back into shape, and this is a big, big win for them.
A huge win, and I mean a confidence booster as well. One of the most confidence-driven teams in Counter-Strike history, and they get a big boost here.
Remember, Olofmeister said, you know, part of the reason why he's, like, once he was injured at Columbus last year, once that kind of appeared, he really went into, like, a little bit of a nosedive in terms of his performance, had to take a month off. And he said coming back, the reason why he's never really felt the same is because he's never really gotten that confidence. It's not that his arm is still hurting. It's not that his or the elbow, whatever it might have been. Yeah. It's more the mental side of things. And now, tonight, we just witnessed a very, very confident Olofmeister.
Yeah, sending a stark contrast, not so cheerful NIP. There is work to be done, words to be had. And
VP, SK, NIP, big names.
Yes.
All gone.
VP, SK, NIP not making it out. And of course, another point that has to be made, NIP will not be able to defend their throne. They are defending champions of Season 2 here in Kiev for the I-League Finals, the StarSeries I-League Finals. And no, they will not be gone. We have the champions dethroned, and there will be a new champion here in Kiev at the end of the week.
I mean, what a just dominant first half out of Fnatic as well. NIP could get nothing done. And I mean, that's just been kind of, you know, a symptom we've seen in this tournament of them, is that their T-sides, they just don't seem to have a phenomenal idea of what to do. They seem to be trying to play 2 ineffective playstyles, can't really get comfortable with one.
I mean, uncomfortable is a perfect word to use.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's at the start of that, when you see like the first 6 or 7 rounds, it's like 7-1 to Fnatic. We didn't see that spurt of aggression you were asking for. I mean, it was felt very much just rinse, repeat. It almost like they lost their confidence to push.
They almost kind of fell into a trap, it felt like, where they didn't have really utility to go outside, so they just said, let's just keep going inside where we've gotten our rounds, and, you know, we can get the bomb planted at the very least. That can be the one thing we'll hold on to, and even that stopped working at a certain point.
It has stopped working, and now we're going to stop working. It's been a pleasure, Jason. Give me the bump. Much love. We'll head over to our desk, or my desk, as it will be for tomorrow.
It's his desk.
Mine! Enjoy yourself.